Welcome back to Evil GT, part 2 of the Focus video. This is the car
that we picked up for 14.5 grand.
It's got a few issues, like this. It's done 145,000 miles.
So as you'd expect, it needs some TLC.
In all kinds of areas. This needs fixing. These need to go back to white. And that. And there's bits of rust like that. And someone's decided to paint the wheels black, but they've not even taken all these gouges out. So they're going back to silver.
But we're going to bring this car back to its former glory and sprinkle some Evil GT magic on it. So one of the biggest issues that we've seen with this car is that the driver's seat is knackered, it's snapped on the outside. I had a quick look online and I found a thread that said you can swap the passenger seat with the driver's seat, fix the driver's seat, that will then be on the inside of the car, so you're not going to see the repair and everybody wins. This has been out a few times and it looks like it's maybe been over tightened and the whole thread inside has literally just fell out and dropped in. So I've got the bolt out, which is good news, but he ain't gonna get it back in. Right, this ain't good. That's how it should look, nice and fresh, clean. This is what this one looks like.
So we're gonna have to take this carpet out, get the rest of this out, and then see what the extent of the damage is.
That isn't actually as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought that this was part of the whole of this, so I thought you'd have to chop the top bit out, but I reckon that whole piece will obviously come out because it looks like it's sort of spot welded in. So thank you very much to Ford, Pentagon Ford I think it is in Warrington. I spoke to a chap there in parts, really helpful. We have discovered exactly what it is. It is a separate part we can get. It's £18 plus VAT. Happy with that?
£18?
£18 plus VAT.
We're just going to swap this base with the passenger one, so the passenger one will go on the driver's side like a brand new. We're going to try and maybe plastic weld this, then we might have to just do some cosmetics on it so it doesn't, because you still will see a little bit of it on that side.
That bit there is going to be on the other side of this centre console, so we're obviously going to repair it still so it's not flapping around, but it doesn't need to be mega neat because you definitely are not going to be able to see it down there. See the foam inside and then a new piece of leather there maybe, and yeah,
and there's a steel bar, you can feel it.
Yeah,
about 10mm wide steel bar going through, and that's where you get that wear on there because it just comes through. There's not enough padding from factory Ford. Sorry, not Ford, Recaro. So we're going to remove this seat, take that base off, put that one on there.
We are, so I'm going to do that now. See how all the others are dead clean? Well, the opposite one of these to the driver's door is the one that's all snapped and knackered. But you can see there's a little bit of surface rust on that, so I wonder at some point if there's been a bit of moisture in here.
Yeah, that one's okay.
Weird, isn't it?
Common Ford fault, eh?
Maybe.
How much?
Just under 19 quid, mate. That's the bit we need, isn't it? It goes like that. Welds up the side. It doesn't have a thread, so it looks like it needs, is it tapping or dyeing? Dyeing or tapping? Tapping. So now we have got the Focus here, and I mean I don't know what I'm looking at, I'll be honest, but that doesn't look quite right, does it? I don't know, that looks like something me and you put together. But then they've joined it up with two hoses that have been joined together by a 4-year-old maybe. Is that box supposed to be sort of flat? I don't even know what that box is, but it's just sort of flapping around underneath that. This looks like it's seen better days. The alternator down there looks new, so this might be a car that we have that doesn't need an alternator, which is a first for Evil GT.
I know the bumper's going to come off easy because there's no screws in that. And there's none in there either.
So but it has been riveted by the looks. That's not right, surely. It looks like it's been riveted in.
Well, we're going to take the bumper off, try and fix that. We're going to take the bonnet off. We have ordered a bonnet.
I priced up a bonnet, which was £514. I got a little bit of discount, direct from Ford. They said that they checked with the supplier and it came with the original vents. I was like, happy days. That's going to cost us about £300 or £400 to paint it. Maybe get £200 or £300 back for this bonnet. So it might cost about 500 quid to get a genuine Focus RS Mark II bonnet painted with the vents. However, Ford called me this morning. Ben, your bonnet's arrived this morning. You know how I said it come with the scoops, the bonnet vents? They're not in it. The holes are cut out, but the vents aren't in it. If you want them, they're £270 each.
By the time you painted it, £350. £1,500 for a bonnet.
Which is scandalous, really, isn't it?
It is, but it needs doing, so we're going to have to do it. So we'll take that off. We're going to get that bonnet.
I just went to touch that then, and that little notch, which, I mean, I don't know exactly what these are supposed to look like, whether that comes through and there's like a pin clip maybe that goes, no, there's not holes, there's not an hole in it, I don't know. But that's definitely been glued on, because now there's nothing coming through any of them 3 holes. Going
off the vents, that's probably about £300 as well.
Probably.
So the bonnet could end up costing close to £2,000.
So by the looks of this, that had the little tiny torque screw in it, but that wasn't actually screwed into anything. But what it's probably doing is stopping the bumper from coming forward.
So that bottom bit there was actually held on by cable ties, which part of the rest of the bumper is held on by cable ties, because most of it has got pre-drilled holes with bolts. That actually came out of the bit down here, so that's not supposed to be in. So it wouldn't surprise me if all the bits on this, it's just not going to go back on. So Uncle Benji, check the price on the, how much did you say, £1,100 for a front bumper?
I think that's what I saw, 1,100 quid, yeah. So all in, the bonnet complete painted and the bumper complete painted is about 3 grand.
Fog cable is cable tied in, the bonnet release catch is cable tied in, everything's just cable tied on, so the bit that we're actually worried about is probably nothing to worry about.
The least of our problems.
Yeah, because this is probably an easy fix.
What they've done here is they haven't used the screw to screw one bit of plastic to the other, they've used the screw as like a thing to stop one bit falling out, which is quite clever. You know, that's genius, that, isn't it?
A bit of plastic welding will fix that. It definitely has had a front end collision, not a bad one, but a collision all the same.
They bumped it on something, haven't they?
Yeah. Do we just get a new bumper for it?
It's not the best, mate, but let's get these screws out, we'll get this mouth out.
The reason this isn't sitting in properly, sitting up, is because every single one of those was snapped off. Well, that one was still there. All the others are gone, so don't actually know how we're going to put this back in.
When it's gone rusty and it's all starting to separate. Knackered that.
This bumper is not in the best of health. It's got brakes there and all kinds of clips missing. But we've just had a look on eBay.
Yeah.
A second-hand one with probably the same amount of damage, well, we've just had a look and it has got the same amount of damage, is a few £100. So we've decided to...
Let's try and fix this.
This is going to break, I can say.
Yeah.
Well, what are you carrying on for then?
Because surely these aren't expensive.
It's a Focus RS, of course it's going to be expensive. Everything's £1,000.
Are you holding the bumper or what? I've got two hands here.
Camera.
There you go.
If you watch part 1, you'll remember that you have to get out of this window just to open the door and push this down, because this catches on there. And then the door opens sort of easily.
There we go. I think we have established that it's not actually the sill's fault or the side skirt's fault. I think this door has actually dropped. Because it keeps catching this, it's obviously caught the paint and the paint's flaked off, and it's been put on poorly anyway, as you can see. That's shocking.
It's like they've used bathroom sealant on it.
Terrible.
We've got our lift in now, which we didn't have before when we started working on the car, so thanks to Northwest Garage Equipment for them installing that. What we need to do before we do any more on this car, especially spending quite a few £1,000s on the front end, is to check underneath to make sure there's no major issues with corrosion or just anything really. As everybody knows, with us too, we don't really know what we're looking at, so we're going to go over it, see what we think is okay and good and bad. If you see something else that we miss, just let us know.
Well, the front wishbones look new for a start. They look sound. The bushes obviously on that are all new. That's new. That looks new. The subframes looks like it's seen better days. It's a little bit crusty. The polybushed, I don't know the difference between these two. Is that like a dog bone mount or whatever they call it for the gearbox, I think? And there's a polybush there as well, whatever that one is. I don't know what the bushes are called exactly.
We have got a little bit of leakage on this, yeah, and it's spilling out onto that pipe there, behind it, just there.
I found a Volvo badge. For those who don't know, I'm sure everyone does, but those who don't know, this is the 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbo Volvo engine.
We've got a lot of surface rust on most of the bits, but it is Ford. What do we expect?
It is. Yeah, it's a little bit crusty again, isn't it? But not that bad.
Got a little bit of misting on this, oil misting there.
I don't know where that's coming from. Looks like it's a little bit higher up. Could be, probably have to try and see if you can see it from the top. A bird poo weld.
See that being a factory weld. It looks a bit untidy, so this probably had a bigger resin there.
These are aftermarket exhaust bushes, aren't they? Also, I found my first set of cable ties.
What, on the back? Because we've got loads on the front. This Focus without cable ties now. When we put it back together, we're just going to have to put cable ties somewhere.
Obviously.
Just as like a homage to...
It'll be an evil GT car then, won't it?
Yeah,
and leave the engine light on as well. Yeah, that is crusty.
That has definitely seen better days.
Not the best. But these arms have been replaced by the looks of it, unless they're made of different metal. I don't know, because that looks basically new, and so does that side.
I think the actual underside is fairly solid.
It's been coated by Summit.
Yeah, it's definitely
some sort of underseal, which I hate, because that to me now is potentially hiding all kinds. I hate when I see underseal on a car. There's nothing we can do about it. It's on there now.
Well, let's just say when they did it properly and cleaned up all the crap off it.
All of these bushes here, that is basically brand spanking new. That.
This, if you didn't remember off the first video, is 14 years old. So 14 years old, it is not bad. What? This is crude.
Yeah,
I'll have to be honest.
That's the underseal.
That is just
awful,
looks
isn't it?
Horrendous. I think I'm happy with that. Are you happy with that? Yep, you're happy with that. We can carry on and we can get the front end sorted out, and then we'll address everything else as we go. I can see this Focus RS is going to be part 17.
Big job this car, innit?
So what do people need to do?
They need to subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, if you've not, then what you're playing at. And like the video. And share it with all your friends. Thanks very much. So
without taking the wheels off, these discs are really, they're probably about 1 millimetre. They definitely need changing. The calipers, you can't even see the calipers, they're that corroded behind. So we'll have a look at them when we take the wheels off.
Is that a job for me, mate, or what?
Well,
I'm a professional brake changer now, aren't I?
Of course you are, yeah.
Yeah, I can do that, mate. No
Uncle Benj, you can do that, no problem. But we'll have a look at these properly, because the one on this side, the rear, well, you can see it there.
Oh my God.
That is destroyed.
Yeah. It looks like it's rubbing on the disc as well, look. That is... There you go, you can have that.
Thanks, mate.
Now usually here on Evil GT, as you know, we've turned over a new leaf and we're trying new things by ourselves. However, this bit is pretty detrimental to the safety of the car, making sure this mount is in properly. So we wanted to find somebody who knew what they were doing and draft them in. We couldn't find them, so we got Scott instead. And Scott's going to have a go at it. I did get a replacement piece. I think it was about £19 from Ford. The mad thing was, it didn't come with the thread in the nut, so that had to be tapped out.
MTS have fixed the seat.
Currently, Julian is very kindly putting the passenger seat base on the driver's seat. Yep. And then this driver's seat base is going to go on the passenger seat. So the centre console is going to be here.
That is new there, and all down that side. So it's matched in pretty good.
It has. The base, obviously the side had snapped, hadn't it? So having that all plastic welded, filled, painted, as well as the new leather. So this whole thing's got to come off, and you've got to replace the leather because you can't stitch it in the same holes as the old leather. So something like that just for this base is around about £250, but that is so much cheaper than a whole new seat. How much is a whole new seat?
Got to be over £1,000.
Got to be. There you go. So there we go, seats fixed, base is fixed and swapped, mount fixed, job done. MTS Cheshire, thank you very much. We've had it professionally welded in, so we know that's definitely going nowhere. Well happy with that. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do consider subscribing. Also go and follow us on Instagram at EvilGTCars and on Facebook. Go and follow MTS Cheshire as well. If you want any interior stuff doing, give them a shout. Thank you very much for watching part 2. Join us in part 3 where we get the exterior bodywork sorted finally. See you then.